"You're not our father," they said. So I grabbed my keys, drove away, and months later they're begging for forgiveness. Be me, 39 years old, writing this at 3 a.m. from my truck, running on zero sleep, but need to get this out. Been driving trucks since I was 21. Started with nothing but a CDL and dreams. Wanted to own my own rig someday. Worked my ass off for years. Literally lived in that truck. Saved every penny I could. Finally bought my own Kenworth. Doing pretty good these days. Have my own regular routes. Loyal customers who trust me. Building up decent savings too. Life is simple but good. No wife. No kids. Just me and my German Shepherd, Thunder. Living the dream on the open road. Not making millions. But got my shit together. Own my truck outright. Have a small apartment I barely use. Enough extra cash to treat myself to a good ribeye when I want. Not bad for a guy who grew up in a trailer park with nothing. How this whole mess started? It's 2016. At Petco buying food for Thunder one Tuesday afternoon. Just a normal day. Thunder is this big goofball I rescued a year before. Best decision I ever made. But probably the only good decision in this story. Lol. Standing there comparing prices on premium dog food. That shit's expensive. Suddenly, feel something slam into my legs at full speed. Look down to see a tiny human missile. Kid is maybe 5 or 6. All energy and no brakes. Wearing a Batman shirt that's seen better days. Clutching some toy truck in his hand. Apparently thought he could outrun my dog. Thunder, being the gentle giant he is, just starts wagging his tail like crazy. This kid is Oliver. Behind him comes this woman looking absolutely done with life, pushing a stroller with a baby in it. That's Lily and their mom, Catherine. Kate for short. She looks like those moms you see in movies, trying to hold it together, but one spilled juice box away from losing it. Dark circles under her eyes, messy bun, whole exhausted mom vibe. Help Oliver up. Kid still giggling because Thunder is giving him the world's sloppiest kisses. Kate starts apologizing like crazy. "I'm so sorry, he's just so hyper today." Oliver apologized to the nice man. But I'm just laughing. Honestly, it's the most excitement I've had all week. Trucking means lots of lonely hours. Random kid attacks are actually a nice change of pace. They're at Petco because Oliver was begging for a pet snake. Hell no, according to Kate. Baby Lily needed to look at the fish. Fishies or she won't nap? We start making small talk. Hyperactive kid still trying to convince Thunder to be his new best friend. That's when I notice it. Military widow pin on her purse. Don't say anything about it at first, but explains a lot. Find out later her husband Nathan died in Afghanistan about a year before. Silver Star recipient. Real hero type. Left behind a 5-year-old who barely remembers him, and a baby girl who'll never know him. Not gonna lie, Kate was pretty. But that's not what got me. It was watching her try so hard to keep it together. Like when Oliver asked if the snake could sleep in Daddy's old room. Her voice cracked just a tiny bit when she said no. Or how she was counting out exact change for dog treats. Could tell money was tight. Thunder really sealed the deal though. This dog who usually takes forever to warm up to people. Letting Oliver climb all over him like a jungle gym. Even little Lily in her stroller, giggling every time Thunder gently licks her hand. Kate mentioned it was first time Lily smiled at a stranger in months. Did something stupid then? Offered to let them walk Thunder with me. Around the store while we looked at pets. They definitely weren't getting... Kate was firm on the no snake rule. Good call, honestly. Oliver was over the moon holding Thunder's leash. Me right there supervising, obviously. Kate actually relaxed a little. Ended up exchanging numbers for doggy playdates, she said half joking. But think we both knew what was up. Looking back now, sitting in my truck. Thunder's gray muzzle on my lap. Wonder if he knew something I didn't. That dog always was smarter than me. Loved those kids right away. But every time Kate came around, he'd get this look. Not growling. Nothing aggressive. Just watchful. Should have paid more attention to that. But you know what they say about hindsight being 20/20ths? Guess your dog can't protect you from your own stupid decisions. Even if he tries. Anyway, those first few months after meeting Kate were something else. Still can't even describe them right. Started with those doggy playdates we talked about. Would bring Thunder to this little park near their apartment complex. Oliver would literally vibrate with excitement. Every time he saw us pull up in my truck. Kid loved that truck Bayou. Thought it was the coolest thing ever. That I drove a monster truck. It's just a regular Kenworth. But try telling that to a 5-year-old. Lol. Here's where I made my first mistake. Started adjusting my routes to be home more. Any trucker reading this knows that's basically throwing money away. But there I was, turning down good long-haul jobs, taking local routes instead, just so I could be around more. Be there for Oliver's t-ball games. Make it to Lily's doctor appointments. Dumb, right? Kate was struggling bad with money. Never asked directly for help. But you could see it. Apartment was always freezing in winter. She was saving on heat. Kids wearing clothes that were a bit too small. One time I noticed Oliver's shoes, literally held together with duct tape. So yeah, I stepped in. What else was I going to do? Bought Oliver new shoes. Kid cried when I got him light-up ones. Broke my heart, man. Started accidentally bringing over extra groceries. That kind of thing. Kate tried to refuse at first, but you try saying no. When your kid is jumping around in his first new shoes in months, got serious pretty quick after that. Started staying over more and more. Thunder loved it. Dog had 2 kids to play with. Bigger space to roam around in. I'd come back from shorter runs. They'd all be there waiting. Even Lily started warming up to me. Went from crying whenever I got near her to demanding bedtime stories. First time Oliver called me dad, I was under my truck doing maintenance. Kid was watching me work, handing me tools. Wrong ones usually, but hey, he was trying. Dropped a wrench on my finger, swore under my breath. He giggled and said, "Dad, you said a bad word?" Just casual, like he'd been calling me that forever. Played it cool on the outside. But inside, I was a complete mess. Good mess though, you know? Went out that weekend, bought one of those world's best dad mugs. Dumb, right? Still have it in my truck. Can't bring myself to throw it out. Kate and I got married about a year after meeting. Nothing fancy. Courthouse wedding. Had a delivery that afternoon. She didn't want a big thing anyway. Said her first wedding had been enough of a production. But I was too busy playing Superman to notice. Got a bigger place. Nice house with a yard for Thunder and the kids. Started college funds for both kids. Separate accounts under my name. Thank God for that now. Worked my ass off to provide everything they needed. And most of what they wanted. You know what's funny? Other truckers used to give me shit about being whipped, missing out on the good routes, rushing home for dance recitals, and parent-teacher conferences. But I was proud of it. Proud that Lily would FaceTime me to show off her art projects. Proud that Oliver wanted me to teach him about engines. Proud when other parents at school would say what a great dad I was. Thunder was living his best life too. Had his own spot on the couch that Kate hated but tolerated. Followed the kids everywhere. Even had playdates with the neighbors' dogs. But he never quite warmed up to Kate. Wouldn't growl or anything. Just kept his distance. Wouldn't take treats from her. Wouldn't cuddle with her like he did with the kids. Should have paid attention to that warning sign. Started noticing little things about Kate. How she'd introduce me as the kid's stepdad instead of her husband. How she kept a picture of Nathan, her late husband, on her nightstand, but wouldn't put up any photos of our wedding. How she'd talk about Nathan to anyone who'd listen. Brave Marine. Hero. Perfect father. But would change the subject if anyone asked what I did for work. But hey, the kids seemed happy. House was paid for. I had what I thought was a family. Thunder had his humans. Life was good, or so I thought. Remember how I said Oliver was this sweet kid? The one who thought my truck was the coolest thing ever? Yeah, well, teenagers are a whole different ballgame. When he hit 17, it's like someone flipped a switch. First time I noticed something was really wrong was when I got back from a 3-day run. Busted my ass to make it home for his football game. Even turned down a better paying route to be there. Walk in the door. Thunder running to greet me like always. Hear Oliver talking to his friends in the kitchen. Now my real dad was a Marine with a silver star and everything. This guy's just my mom's husband. Felt like someone slapped me in the face. This was the same kid who used to beg me to take him to the truck yard, who'd sit in my rig for hours while I taught him about engines. Now suddenly I'm just mom's husband. But it got worse. Lily, 14 by then, started copying everything her brother did. Eye rolls, heavy sighs whenever I walked into a room. The works. One time I asked her to clean up her mess in the kitchen. You'd think I'd asked her to donate a kidney or something. Why should I? You're not my real dad. There it was. That phrase. Started hearing it more and more. Every time I tried to set any kind of rules or boundaries. You're not my real dad. Every time I tried to help with homework or give advice. You're not my real dad. Started to feel like it was their new favorite song or something. And Kate? She just checked out. Always on her phone. Always too busy to deal with it. One time I actually heard her, on the phone with her friend, laughing about how the kids were just going through a phase, and how they obviously missed their real father. Real father? They don't even remember him. Like I hadn't been the one there, for every single thing, for the past 8 years. The worst part, started noticing how Kate would talk about me. To her friends, "Oh, he's on the road a lot." Or, "He drives trucks," always said in this apologetic tone. Like she was embarrassed. Meanwhile, she'd talk about Nathan, dead husband, like he hung the moon. Nathan was a war hero, and Nathan would have wanted this and that. Even started affecting my relationship with Thunder. Used to be he'd sleep in the kids' rooms sometimes. They'd fight over who got him each night. Now they'd push him away. Say their friends were coming over, and they didn't want dog hair everywhere. Only time they paid attention to him was when they needed something from me. Amazing how they'd suddenly become dog lovers. when they wanted money or favors. But then I started finding out about all these family things I wasn't invited to. Kate's family reunions, school events, even just dinners out. They'd wait until I was on a run, then go do family stuff without me. Would see the pictures on Kate's Facebook later, them all smiling, having fun, being a real family, while I was out earning the money. That paid for it all. One night I confronted Kate about it. She just looked at me with this pity, like I was some dumb truck driver who didn't understand how things worked. They're teenagers, they need space. And you're gone so much anyway. Yeah, gone busting my ass to pay for their private school, their phones, their cars, because apparently my truck wasn't good enough for them to be seen in anymore. Gone working extra routes to afford the lifestyle they'd gotten used to. It was like watching something rot from the inside out. On the surface, everything looked fine. Nice house, nice cars, kids in good schools. But underneath, it was all going to shit. Thunder knew. He'd started doing this thing, where he'd put his head on my lap whenever I was home, just staring at me, with those knowing dog eyes, like he was trying to tell me something. But I wasn't ready to listen yet. But then things went from bad to worse. Like my tools would go missing from the garage. Not just misplaced, straight up gone. Oliver used to help me maintain my truck. Knew exactly which tools I needed most. Funny how those were always the ones that disappeared. Then my truck started having issues. Nothing major at first. Scratch here, dent there. Could have been anything, right? But then one morning, came out to find my fuel tank cap unscrewed. Not loose, completely unscrewed and sitting on top. Anyone who knows trucks knows how dangerous that could have been if I hadn't caught it. So I installed a security camera in the yard after that. Guess what I saw in the footage? Our precious boy Oliver, 2 a.m., messing with my truck. When I showed Kate the video, you know what she said? Well, maybe if you were home more, he wouldn't act out like this. Yeah, that's when I started keeping receipts for everything. Every repair, every replacement tool, every single thing I paid for. My lawyer says that turned out to be the smartest thing I could have done. But here's where it really went sideways. Lily, my little girl, who used to beg for bedtime stories. She started dating this college guy, Marcus or whatever. A real piece of work. Trust fund baby type, who drove a BMW his daddy bought him. Didn't think much of it at first. Not my business who she dates, right? Then I noticed she's not wearing the necklace I got her for her 16th birthday anymore. The one she swore she'd never take off. Found out later. She told her friends it was embarrassing because it came from a truck stop. It was from Tiffany's, by the way. Worked overtime for 2 months to afford it. One night I'm at home between routes. Hear Lily and Kate talking in the kitchen. Lily's going on about how Marcus's family has this big Christmas party coming up. Really fancy affair. Mom, what do I tell them about Dad? My ears perk up, thinking maybe, just maybe, she's worried about explaining her stepdad's job. Nope. Just tell them what I always do, honey. That your father was a Marine who died serving his country. Didn't even lower their voices. Didn't care if I heard. I was sitting right there in the living room with Thunder. And they just acted like I didn't exist. Thunder growled. First time I'd ever heard him growl at family. Kate jumped. Tried to play it off with a laugh. Oh, that dog's getting so moody in his old age. Nah, Kate. Thunder just finally stopped pretending. Same as me. But the final straw is when I found out they had a whole-ass Thanksgiving dinner while I was on a run. Not just them. Kate's whole family, some of the kids' friends, even a few neighbors, saw the pictures on Facebook. They set up in my backyard, used my grill that I hadn't been allowed to use in months because the smoke bothers Lily's allergies, and acted like one big happy family. And the caption under the photo said, "So thankful for family. Missing Nathan extra hard today. I was out there, driving through a snowstorm to deliver emergency supplies, missing my family. And they're playing house, pretending I don't exist. I had enough that night, sleeping in my truck with Thunder. Didn't even bother going inside when I got home. Started making plans. Called my buddy Rich, who's a lawyer. Started gathering documents. Took screenshots of everything. But I still wasn't ready to pull the trigger. Still thought maybe there was something worth saving. What a fucking idiot I was. But you know what's funny about life? Just when you think things can't get more fucked up, the universe finds a way to prove you wrong. That day started normal enough. Just finishing up a long haul from California. Looking forward to surprising Lily for her 21st birthday. Didn't know I was the one in for a surprise, so I was pushing through. Because Lily's birthday was coming up. And even though things were shit, I still wanted to be there. Had this whole thing planned. Was going to surprise her. Had a Tiffany bracelet. I'd been saving up for months to buy her. Got home early for once. It's like 6 p.m. Sun's still up. See all these cars parked around our house. Nice ones. BMWs. Mercedes. That kind of shit. Figured maybe Kate was having one of her fancy friend gatherings she never invited me to. Thunder starts acting weird. The moment we pull up, normally he's excited to get home. But this time he's just tense. Should have listened to him. Right then and there. Go around back, because that's where all the noise is coming from. And there it is. Full-blown party in my backyard. Catering. Fancy dresses. The works. And right in the middle of it all is Lily holding hands with trust fund Marcus. It was a whole engagement party that they didn't tell me about. But here's the thing that really got me. I'm standing there, gift box in my hand, and I hear this old lady. Marcus's grandmother found out later, asking about Lily's family. Oh, what does your father do, dear? Now I'm thinking maybe, just maybe after all these years, Lily might acknowledge me. Even my stepdad's a truck driver would have been something. Lily wearing this fancy designer dress that I know Kate couldn't afford, looks this old lady right in the eye and says, my father was a Marine. He died in Afghanistan when I was a baby. He was a hero. Kate is standing right there, nodding along, proud as can be, and then she adds, Nathan would be so proud of the woman Lily's become. He always wanted her to marry well. Marry well, like being a working man who provided for their family for 15 years. Wasn't well enough? Then Marcus's dad starts talking about wedding plans, big church wedding, country club reception, all that fancy shit. Then he says something about father of the bride traditions. Lily doesn't even hesitate. Oh, my Uncle Steve, Kate's brother, will be standing in for my dad. He was my dad's best friend in the Marines. Steve, who I've literally never seen, contribute a damn thing to Lily's life, except showing up drunk to Christmas and telling war stories about Nathan. I must have made some kind of noise, because Thunder lets out this low whine. That's when they finally notice me, standing there, the look on Lily's face. Not shame, not guilt, just annoyance. Like I'd ruined her perfect moment. By existing, Kate tries to play it off. Oh, Jacob, you're home early. We were just... But I'm not listening anymore. I'm looking at my house, my backyard, the party being paid for with my money. Found out later Kate used my credit card for the catering, celebrating my daughter's engagement, and I'm not even supposed to exist? The bracelet box feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds in my hand. Thunder is pressed against my leg, doing that thing where he's trying to protect me, but also comfort me at the same time. Marcus's mom, trying to be polite, I guess, asked who I am. Before anyone can answer, I just turn around and walk away, get in my truck. Thunder jumps in, and we leave. Spent the night at a truck stop, about 50 miles away, just sitting there with Thunder, both of us staring at nothing. That night I called Rich, my lawyer buddy, told him it's time. He just said, finally. I've had the papers ready for months. Honestly, after that engagement party, something in me just broke, or maybe fixed itself, depending how you look at it. Spent that whole night in my truck with Thunder, going through old photos on my phone, pictures of Oliver's first baseball game, Lily's dance recital, all that family stuff I thought we had. But here's something most people don't get about trucking. It's not just some dude driving a big rig down the highway. It's a business. Contracts, accounts, assets, the whole 9 yards. And while Kate and the kids were busy, looking down their noses at the simple trucker, I was running that business like a goddamn CEO. That house they were living in my name. The cars they drove, my name. The credit cards Kate used to pay for that fucking fancy engagement party, all in my name. Even the utilities were under my company's name. Because of some tax thing Rich set up years ago, but I played it cool. Kept driving my routes, kept paying the bills, kept acting like nothing was wrong. Even sat through dinner one night where Lily and Kate were talking about wedding venues. That cost more than my first truck. Just nodded along. Playing the dumb trucker they thought I was. Meanwhile, Rich and I went through everything. Bank statements, property titles, credit card bills, all of it. Found some interesting shit too, like how Kate had been writing checks to her brother Steve. You know, the stand-in dad from my business account. Or how Oliver had been using my credit card to buy parts for his car that somehow ended up on his friend's ride. The best part? Kate never signed any prenup, but she also never put her name on anything important. She thought not taking my last name meant she was keeping her independence or some shit. Actually meant she had no legal claim to my assets. Rich laughed his ass off when he realized that. You know what really gets me though? While all this is going down, they're still acting like I'm the bad guy. Oliver's still messing with my truck. Caught him on camera again. Trying to sugar the gas tank this time. Lily's still playing the poor, fatherless bride card. To Marcus's family, and Kate's still running her mouth. To anyone who will listen, about how her first husband was such a hero. One night I'm sitting in my study, doing paperwork, running my own fleet now. Got 2 other drivers working for me, and I hear them in the kitchen. They're laughing about something. And Kate goes, "Well, at least the wedding will be paid for." It's not like he knows how to hide money. He's just a trucker. Thunder, who'd basically moved into my study with me at this point, looks up at me like, "You hearing this, Dad?" I just patted his head and kept working on transfer paperwork with Rich. What they didn't know is that I'd been moving money around for months. Legal, like, all above board. Rich made sure of that, but strategic. Setting up new accounts, redirecting business income, canceling credit cards, and creating new ones they didn't know about. Even started a whole new LLC for my growing fleet. The day everything was ready, took Thunder for a long walk. Had to think about what I was about to do. Wasn't just about revenge. It was about taking back what was mine. My dignity, my self-respect, my life. You know what finally convinced me? Saw Lily showing off her engagement ring to her friends in the backyard. Big fancy thing. That probably cost more than most people. Make in a month, she's going on about how she's finally going to have a real family once she marries Marcus. That night I made one last call to Rich. Do it. The plan we'd spent months putting together was finally going into motion. And let me tell you something about patience. You ever watch one of those nature documentaries where a predator just waits patiently, letting their prey think everything's fine until the perfect moment to strike? That was me. That Tuesday morning, told Kate I was heading out for a 3-day run. The night before, she probably thought I was off. Being a good little trucker, earning more money for precious Lily's wedding? Hell, Oliver was probably already planning what part of my rig to fuck with next. What they didn't know, I was parked just an hour away at my buddy's yard, watching everything unfold through the security cameras I'd installed. And boy, what a show it was. The lawyer Rich timed everything perfectly. The courier showed up right as Kate was having her morning coffee. 3 thick envelopes, each one a different kind of fuck you. You should have seen her face when she opened that first package. Divorce papers. But not just any divorce papers. We're talking a whole goddamn manuscript of their bullshit. Security footage of Oliver's little vandalism hobby. Bank statements showing Kate treating my business account like her personal piggy bank. Screenshots of Lily talking about me online, while flashing the designer crap I paid for. All of it documented and notarized. Then came the eviction notice. Kate always acted so high and mighty about keeping her independence, not taking my last name. Never once bothered to check if her name was on the house deed, though. Funny how that works out. But the cherry on top, that third envelope, watching her face as she realized every credit card was canceled, every joint account closed, every asset transferred, all perfectly legal, all documented, all gone. Like watching someone realize they've been playing poker with a marked deck, and they just lost everything. The meltdown was biblical. First came Kate's calls, screaming about the wedding, and the house, and how I couldn't do this to them. Then Oliver trying to act tough about the credit cards, like he had any right to them. After what he did to my truck, finally Lily. Real waterworks about her special day being ruined. How Marcus's family would think they're trash. Not one word about the years I spent being her dad. Not one "I'm sorry" in sight. Kate tried running to her fancy lawyer friends, but turns out they're not so friendly when they realize their client doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. No joint accounts, no joint property, not even a claim to that overpriced furniture she loved to show off to her friends. All bought with business accounts, all mine. Then Kate's brother Steve shows up, probably thinking he's going to play tough guy. Remember Steve? The stand-in dad for Lily's wedding? Yeah, he wasn't so tough. When my lawyer's associate served him with a cease and desist and a restraining order. Turns out threatening someone who keeps receipts isn't such a smart move. By sunset, Kate's crying to anyone who will listen. Lily's playing victim on social media, and Oliver's still making threats about my truck. Thanks for the written evidence, genius. But here's the best part. I made sure everyone knew why. Rich helped me put together a nice little information package for all their fancy friends, Marcus's family. Everything laid out nice and neat. The vandalism, the theft, the lies about being a grieving military family while living off my work. Even threw in some choice recordings of them mocking my job. Marcus's family, old money types, real proper. They didn't take too kindly to finding out their future in-laws. We're a bunch of grifters. That fancy country club wedding suddenly got complicated. The next few days, I got hundreds of messages, threats, begging, guilt trips. You name it, I didn't answer a single one. Just sat in my truck with Thunder, watching karma do its thing. Through my phone screen, drove by the house a week later, moving trucks in the driveway. Guess reality's a bitch. When it finally shows up, now sitting here by the lake, where Thunder and I used to take the kids fishing. Thunder sprawling out in the grass next to my chair. probably dreaming about chasing rabbits or stealing my breakfast sandwich, like he did this morning. Been a year since everything went down, and sometimes I still can't believe how much has changed. Funny thing about hitting rock bottom. Once you start climbing back up, you realize maybe you needed the fall to appreciate the view. Take my business, for example. Remember those 2 drivers I mentioned? Now there's 6 of us, all running solid routes, all trucks paid for. Amazing what you can do with your money when it's not being bled dry by people who see you as an ATM with legs. Couldn't keep the old house, though. Too many ghosts. And I don't mean the 4-legged kind. Found a smaller place near my truck yard instead. Got a big fenced yard where thunder can run. A garage where I can work on my trucks in peace. And most importantly, no drama walking through the door every night. People keep asking me about them. Guess everyone loves a good train wreck, right? Kate ended up moving in with her hero brother Steve. Funny how his heroic spirit dried up when she actually needed help. Last I heard, she's answering phones at some dental office. Turns out just a trucker. Wasn't such a bad provider after all. Oliver's working at his uncle's tire shop now. College wasn't so appealing once daddy's money stopped flowing. Kind of ironic. Kid who thought manual labor was beneath him is now changing tires for minimum wage. Life's got a sense of humor. I'll give it that. And Lily. That fairy tale wedding crashed and burned. Trust fund Marcus's family had some concerns about their precious son marrying into a family with questionable values. Their words, not mine. They offered to bankroll a smaller ceremony, but Princess wouldn't have it. She's slinging plates at some chain restaurant now, living back with Kate. That Tiffany bracelet I bought for her birthday? Sold it. Got Thunder an orthopedic bed instead. Best trade I ever made. The messages still come sometimes. Kate's essays about how I destroyed the family go straight to Rich's evidence folder. Lily tried the I miss you dad routine on my birthday. Funny how that word only matters when they need something. Oliver? Radio silence. Good. You know what's weird though? I don't feel anything for them anymore. No hate, no love, just nothing. But life keeps rolling. Fleet's growing. Got good people working with me who actually respect what we do. Got a date next weekend too. Owns a diner on one of my regular routes. She's got her own business, her own life. And get this, she actually thinks what I do is something to be proud of. Thunder gave her the paw of approval, which is really all the review I need. And you know what? After all this, I realized something important. Being a provider doesn't make you a father. And being a father doesn't mean being a doormat. Sometimes the family you think you're building is just a house of cards. And sometimes, Thunder just dropped his ball in my lap for the 100th time. The only family you need is the one that's been lying at your feet all along. Thunder is giving me that look now. The one that says, enough with the heavy stuff, Dad, let's play? Think I'll take his advice. After all, he's been right about everything else. Thunder says thanks for all the love. He's currently snoring in his fancy new bed, living his best life. To everyone fighting their own battles, it gets better. Keep your dignity, document everything, and never let anyone shame you. For honest work, Thunder and I have an early route tomorrow, so we're signing off. Remember, sometimes losing a fake family is worth finding yourself.